Greetings, Pilgrim family and friends. We're very excited to be getting ready to finally worship with you in person in our sanctuary coming this Sunday. And we just thought we would put a short video together to just kind of give some information on what to expect when you get here, as well as what we've been working on and are hoping from this Sunday. As you can imagine, the last several months of worship time with you, being virtual, has been really exciting for Dan and I to do. It's also been very taxing, just to be very honest, and it's kind of taken a lot out of us. So we're very glad to finally be doing that in person. In fact, we're kind of tired. At least that's what Dan tells me. Isn't that right, Dan? Dan? Dan! Wake up! So you can see what we've been dealing with on this end. So, just a few things to kind of alert you to. Number one, we want to acknowledge that you are coming with some anxieties, many of you, which is totally understandable. By the way, thank you so much for those of you that shared your thoughts with us in those surveys. More than 60 people responded, and that gave us a really good basis for information on what we needed to make this Sunday and subsequent Sundays really work for you and work for all of us. Some of the anxieties that you shared in those surveys, we wanted to make sure not only that we addressed here, but that we told you about, so that it could alleviate some of that anxiety for you. So I want to start with just what to plan on for this Sunday. Number one, we're asking that you arrive certainly before 9:30. We hope to start the service right at 9:30, and that you park out behind the sanctuary or behind the library. Please don't park on the side near the side entrance unless you need handicap parking. None of those spots will be available except for handicap parking. When you come and start either getting ready to come in the building or lining up, we just ask that you don't congregate on the entrance ramp, that you just kind of stay social distancing and responsibly keeping enough space between you and others before we open the doors. We will be opening them right at 9:15, and we are hoping that everyone is there by 9:30. When you arrive, there will be one or two trustees that will be directing people into the sanctuary. There will be arrows on the floor in terms of what direction to go. And then there will be very brightly colored X's on the pews as to where we are asking people to sit. This is going to require you, if you are used to sitting in a certain place in church on every Sunday, to figure out how to be okay to sit somewhere else. We're asking that of everyone. A lot of our placement in the service is going to be displaced this Sunday, and so we're wanting to make sure that you're expecting that before you come. It will be comfortable and it will be very socially responsible, given our desire to respond to the health needs of many of our congregation members. And that's the main reason why we're going to be rather strict on where people are sitting and how they are getting there. So please, when you arrive, plan to follow the instructions that you're given when you do. Families that arrive together at the same time are welcome to sit clumped in one pew in an area where there is one of those brightly colored X's. They don't have to sit 6 feet apart from each other. However, you must arrive together at the same time and be seated at the same time. If you're arriving at a different time than your family, please don't plan on sitting with them. Masks will be required, as we have noted in our previous communications with you. There's a reason for that. Number one, we do have a lot of people in the church that have some anxieties around their own health because they fall into a higher risk category. So I'm kind of doubling down on our policy here. We are following the CDC requirements or their recommendations regarding either social distancing or wearing masks. So we're doing both. We are going to be keeping everyone 6 feet apart, and we're also requiring masks. But the other advantage that masks are allowing or giving us is that we can sing in church if we are wearing masks. The mask completely obstructs any air or water particles to escape the mask any more than 6 inches from your face, as opposed to 8 to 12 feet without a mask. So this is the other reason we would like to be able to sing in church. And so we're going to, and that's part of the reason that we are asking that you wear masks. If you don't have one, please don't stay at home only for that reason. We will have some spare masks here available for you to use. When the service is over, we will be exiting one section at a time and one row at a time so that we are able to maintain that distancing protocol on your way out so that everyone feels safe as they leave. So please plan on that as well. The last thing I want to note about what to plan on is that the restrooms will be available, but we are only allowing one person at a time to be in there. And there'll be a sign on the door to identify if it's in use or if it's vacant. So please plan on that. A thorough professional cleaning and sanitizing is going to be done tomorrow here in all the sanctuary and the office. And Robin Gallagher, our moderator, is going to be sending out an email with more details on just what that cleaning is going to involve. Again, to alleviate some the anxieties of some regarding that aspect of what we're doing. Now, what not to plan on. Thankfully, this is a much shorter list, but we do need to make sure that you know what restrictions we are going to have in place. Number one, there is no access to anywhere in the building except the sanctuary and the vestibule that gets you in and out of there. There will be no access to the day room, and no one will be allowed in the office except church officers. And of course, you can have access to the restrooms as I just described. Use of the water fountain will not be allowed for obvious reasons. Even though it's a communion Sunday, we will not be serving communion during the worship service. However, we will be live video recording the service, and after everyone has left, we will include the communion ceremony as a part of that. And later in the day, we'll be editing that video together and including that so that you can participate in that at home at your leisure later in the afternoon or the evening. And we'll send out an email to that effect when that video is ready to view. The other thing to not plan on is for the sanctuary to look the same. Now, certainly the pews are still in there, the carpet's still in there, it's still the same color, and it's still beautiful windows that we have. But there's going to be a lot of tech equipment around. We have a screen on the front because we are not allowing any use of hymnals or Bibles or bulletins or any printed material. So we are broadcasting everything onto a very large screen that's been set up by Dan and Sean. Thank you so much to them for that. We're going to have cameras and microphones and a projection screen and other equipment for the purpose of not only accommodating a service with the protocols that we need to put in place, but also for the purpose of video recording it for those that are unable at this time to join us in the live service. So plan on that, please. In the survey, we asked almost on a fluke. I bounced it off of a couple of the church leaders, and they said, "Oh, don't worry about that." But I thought, just as a fluke, in the survey, I included the question, would you be more comfortable if the two pastors got tested for COVID-19? We were struck by the fact that more than half of those who filled out the surveys said, yes, please get tested. So we did, and we are both negative. Thank you, God, and the state of Massachusetts and New Hampshire for installing some pretty strict protocols on how to engage socially. So we're all good. We're very healthy, and we wanted to let you know that. If you are feeling ill on Sunday, even though you were planning on coming, or if you're feeling anxious about coming to the point where you are really wrestling with that prospect, feel free to stay home. In fact, if you're feeling ill, please do stay home. We will be video recording the service. It's not going to look like the videos that we've had all kinds of time to do editing and nuance and details like we have the others, but we will be providing a live video recording each Sunday for now into the distant future, we think, for those that are unable to join us in the sanctuary for reasons of anxiety or health or any other reasons, traveling, any other reason for absence. One final thing before Dan and I say goodbye is there is a huge crisis going on in our nation right now around the death of George Floyd and the subsequent protests and even riots and social unrest that is happening throughout our country. We're going to be addressing this on Sunday, so please don't think that we haven't seen what's going on or please don't think that it is missing our attention, the need to address this pastorally. We'll be talking about this on Sunday and how it pulls faith communities into both awareness and a call to action. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday as well. Finally, we are very excited to see you this Sunday. And if you want to come, but you are really struggling with that, we will see you at whatever Sunday you feel you're ready to do that. And in the meantime, please know we continue to pray for all of you. We are very grateful for how much you have continued to engage our services, even though they've been virtual. And we look forward to finally gathering again on Sunday. So with that, both Dan and I are going to say goodbye.
Bye.
And have a great week.
See you soon.
And we'll see you Sunday.